So guys, I have a confession to make. I haven't been liking my valley lately. And I know my builds have been doing relatively well, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm in my flop era. And on top of that, I just haven't been liking when I walk through my valley. So I did put up a poll about 4 days ago, and apparently Scar just wants to sit on my ass crack while I do this. But anyways though, I did a poll on what location you guys would like me to work on next. It looked like the forest was mostly preferred, and although I would like to work on the forest, I can't stand my plaza. Like, my plaza is driving me insane, and it's literally to the extent that I don't even want to play it because I hate going through this. So with all these guys literally like flanking me, let's have a manic episode and destroy some stuff I've done so far. So I know you guys love this theme park, but it has to go. I can't do it anymore. I hate running through this and hearing the stupid music that plays from all of the rides. It drives me insane. I also can't take all of these palm trees in this area. It just feels wrong. And then the oregano that like only grows on the edge of the pathing, it's so disturbing, and there's so many branches, whatever they're called, sticks, that are all along the pathing in the back, and I can't stand it. I literally don't want to look at this ever again. So yeah, this is all gonna go. I promise you, I'm not just gonna like completely get rid of the theme park altogether. I will do another one, just not here and not like this. I have entirely different plans for it. So much of this just like irked my soul. I'm so happy to get rid of it. I know that's like just so hateful, but I couldn't stand this area. And like, oh, these buildings, it's just so ugly. And then I have my storage, all these chests just on one side. This all has to go. So my first order of business, once I destroyed all of the furniture, was to get rid of all of the flowers and all the freaking oregano. I had so many flowers growing that I don't even think belonged in the plaza. They were just entirely taking over. I don't know what happened. Once I got the flowers out of the way, I wanted the chests to move, and I knew this would aggravate me later because these chests are all organized, but I had to do what I had to do, and I wasn't gonna fix like everything yet. I just had a very specific plan what I wanted to do and how I wanted to approach this. I took a lot of my pathing out on other areas because I knew I was about to go buck wild with the pathing over here. I mean, at this point, I had so much brick road, I had so much gravel, I had so much rock. Pretty sure I could just do whatever I wanted. I just ended up going with the brick road because I had the most of that. And I don't think that it looks bad, but psych, I ended up deleting that because I did hate it. It did look bad. And then I ended up going with the gravel instead, which yes, I realized I would probably inevitably run out of it, but I was okay with that. I knew that I wanted the paths to go out, but I didn't know how to make it work. I didn't know how to make it pretty. One of the things I did have to figure out is the hedges. I knew I wanted hedges surrounding the center of the plaza, but I didn't know where to put them and how that was going to relate to the paths. Once I figured that out, it was a lot easier to put the pathing how I wanted it to be. One of the things that made me really want to change my valley around was the fact that it didn't have, I guess honestly, like a city feel to it. It didn't feel structured. It felt too chaotic. Like nothing was matching, and I don't know, it just felt messy. And I really wanted to change that. I really wanted it to have at least some of a structured feel to it. And I knew that the most structure was going to be coming out of the plaza because objectively that's just like the best place for it. I did also have a hard time with the rocks around the first entrance. And that's just because I was trying to figure out how to make the diagonal pathing not look so abrupt, and I just didn't want to do the same stone thing that everyone else does on the corners. I don't know if I really have a choice to do anything different for stuff like this though. Eventually, when I decided it just looked kind of stupid, I put it all back to a right angle and kept it just like this. One thing I also wanted a lot more in these builds was seating and lighting. I feel like I really lacked on that in a lot of different areas in my valley, so I'm making it a priority now. Once I felt comfortable with the actual entrance, I realized that a gazebo in front, kind of like an archway, but also looked really pretty, so I kind of fought on if I want to put that right coming off of the center platform or if I want it to be a little bit in the middle. I did end up putting it in the middle, and after that I realized I had to finish off my pathing. I did the best with what I had. I knew I wouldn't be able to make the entire thing yet, but I could at least draw it all out in the center. And honestly, this was perfect. This was all I needed. Following that, I didn't want to necessarily do the entire thing, but I did have some plans. I wanted to at least get my buildings placed. I didn't want to actually complete the build yet or start the build yet, but I did want the foundation to be there when I decided I was ready to. So I got 𝘠𝘠𝑗𝑚𝑖's restaurant and Scrooge's shop placed down. I wanted this to not look so abrupt, so I put some fencing down. I do wish we had the iron spike and brick fence in like a white color because I really like the brick, but it's so dark and just, I don't know, abrupt, I guess. I just honestly can't stand the way it looks. I put fencing around the entire buildings to the point that it literally started glitching out. I would need even more hedges to kind of cover up the fencing to make it look at least a little bit more attractive. I want some signs around the gazebo that told you what direction everything was in. So I got one for Sunlit Plateau and one for the Forest of Valor, both at the front. And then I got another bench down and another street lamp down. From there, I was like, well, now what? Because didn't have enough pathing. I didn't want to start any of the builds officially. And I didn't think there was any other furniture I could put right here. I don't know. Like, I looked at some flower beds and I just personally did not like the way they looked. I tried to take a look at what trees were already being used in the natural environment. I just saw a lot of dwarf birches and a few birch trees. The center as well, there's also the dark birches. So I want to use those. To make sure that the trees actually were lining up as you go into the forest, I would need some light birches and some tall birches. I want to place a lot of these down before I started some of the pathing because it honestly just really helps. One of the things I am just pretty much refusing to do this time around is closing off my mining rocks to myself. In the past, I was like, oh, it's fine. I don't need to access all of them, but it honestly gets on my nerves. So I made sure I placed 𝘠𝘠𝑗𝑚𝑖's restaurant in an area where I could still access the mining rock. I still had a very clear pathing into the forest and the trees weren't overlapping with the building. So far, this is our plaza reimagined. I will see you all on part 2 where we work on the restaurant area and we will see where we go from there.